Tonight, This Hour Has 7 Days presents a special one-hour report in the document series, dealing with matters of urgent public concern.
It's a busy day for Popeye, Rosie, Downtown Louie, and the 200 street corner newsboys who peddle Toronto's 3 daily newspapers. Today, July 8th, is a day of crisis. A few hours from now, 680 printers will walk off the job in a strike which will create unprecedented bitterness. It will sacrifice the jobs of men who have worked for the newspapers for as long as 40 years. It will force men and women to cross picket lines manned by friends and neighbors. It will blacken the reputation of the oldest and proudest union in North America. It will put strikebreakers into the plants of 3 of Canada's most respected newspapers. It will be a strike which neither the publishers nor the union really wants, and which neither the publishers nor the union can afford to lose. It is the classic contest of the 20th century, men losing their jobs to machines. The newspaper business is booming. The Globe and Mail, the Star, and the Telegram sell 800,000 papers every day. The Star made $1 million profit last year. For 22 months, the publishers and their 680 printers have been unable to agree on a new contract. The publishers want to install multi-purpose electronic computers. The computers will operate automatic typesetting machines. The process is automation. Eventually, it will make the entire membership of Local 91 of the International Typographical Union obsolete. The publishers have promised no printer will lose his job, but the men know the computer means the end of their work as skilled craftsmen. And in the long run, the end of the ITU, which for a century has been the toughest, strongest, and most stubborn craft union in North America. The computer is the only outstanding issue between the publishers and Local 91. 3 times the Toronto officials of Local 91 have reached agreement with the papers on this issue. 3 times the agreements have been rejected by the headquarters of the ITU in Colorado Springs. The publishers feel they have gone as far as they can with a U.S.-dominated union. Now they issue an ultimatum. At midnight tonight, they will enforce new work rules which will pave the way for the computers. Local 91 replies, any change in work rules will mean a strike. Automation in big-time journalism is about to have its first combat test.
I can't say a word. You have to speak to the chair.
Everything to be said by the president, not by anybody else.
By the press, that's what I told him.
No, sir. The president's the only man who makes any report.
As the witching hour draws near, 680 union members continue to set type as usual in the composing rooms of the 3 newspapers. The men seem unconcerned, but the air is heavy with tension. The battle is about to be joined. Just before midnight, the new work rules are posted. The publishers have thrown down the gauntlet. The union will reply with its ultimate weapon, the call to strike. Thursday, July 9th. The strike is on.
Picket lines formed about 30 minutes ago at Toronto's 3 daily newspapers as 680 members of the International Typographical Union walked out after some of their members had been suspended by the papers for refusing to set type with electronic computers. The computer issue has been the main stumbling block in contract negotiations. I talked with the spokesman for the 3 publishers, Wilfred Healy.
Mr. Healy, what is the publisher's view of the ITU action? The publishers regret very much the action that has been taken. This morning, the Minister of Labor had asked both parties not to take any precipitate action pending a meeting before him on Tuesday. Fortunately, the ITU members walked off their jobs this morning about half an hour ago.
The publishers are ready. This computer has been on standby for months, waiting for action. Now it is given a final checkout by a computer expert from the United States. A few hours from now, it will replace 280 union printers.
American strikes up in Canada.
They're no different than the ones back out in the States, I imagine.
In the composing room of the Star, the bosses take over, work desperately to fill the columns for the first edition. B. Honderick, vice president of the Star, has had little sleep for days. With the help of secretaries and salesmen and non-union employees, Honderick will demonstrate to Local 91 that he can put out a newspaper without the printers.
He's probably trying to do a job.
At the Globe and Mail, it is past midnight. The Globe's first edition has just reached the loading platforms. It is 4 hours late and has 1,000 printing errors, but it was published successfully without the help of Local 91. The publishers are exuberant.
There it is.
How'd you do it?
By the help of a lot of people.
What kind of people?
Our people.
Do you think you can continue in this manner?
I'm certain we can. I mean, we've now overcome the difficulties caused by the damage that was done to the machines, and we are quite happy that we should be able to do it even better than we've done tonight.
Do you think there's going to be any chance of a settlement pretty soon?
We're willing to negotiate. We've always negotiated. We've negotiated for 22 months, and we're willing to continue if we have the slightest guarantee that our Canadian workers will come to agreement and not be dictated to by their international union in Colorado Springs, USA.
Friday, July 10th, the strike goes into its second day. This is a linotype machine. For 65 years, it has been setting type in the composing room of the Star. When it was introduced, the union bitterly opposed it, preferring to set type by hand. Now the linotype will be sold for scrap. The computer takes over. The girls are the private secretaries of the newspaper bosses. They have been secretly trained to handle the electric typewriters which punch the tape, which runs the computer. 99 girls do the same work as 680 members of Local 91, now out on the picket line. At first, the girls make many mistakes, but they learn quickly. The advertisers continue to buy space in the papers, and the public continues to buy them. Sunday, July 12th, fourth day of the strike. Local 91 calls a mass meeting at the Toronto Labor Temple.
Toronto Typographical Union will come to order. Anyone who is not a member of Toronto Typographical Union or Toronto Mailers Union, with the exception of this CBC crew, which I have already explained, has permission here. Any reporters or others who are noticed, throw them out.
The speaker is Bob McCormick. He is president of Local 91. He seeks a vote of confidence from the members. Beside him is Steve Martinuk, sent by ITU headquarters in Colorado Springs to advise Local 91. No move can be made without his approval.
In front of the Chicago Tribune stands a monument to an early American patriot who at the age of 21 was hanged with his hands bound behind his back. And his last words were, "I regret that I have but one life to give my country." And this, gentlemen, I think is a position that we should take today as far as our international union and our local union is concerned. And I hope we stick together to a man. Thank you.
I think that there are too many important issues to be resolved at this meeting, and we have already spent too much time in platitudes, and it is about time we started now.
The men are cheerful but apprehensive. They know only one other union, the Mailers, is prepared to back them. They also know the ITU has 28 unsettled strikes on its hands right now and is losing all of them.
Insurance books, we are also going to inform the National Employment Service that a legal strike exists on these papers, and by law in Canada, they must inform any prospective rats that this is a struck situation and they'll have to cross a legal picket line.
I think the recorder, Mr. Chairman, put down lockout rather than strike. Legal lockout.
Lockout or strike or whatever the hell you call it.
It was moved by E. Kirkley, seconded by W. Galbraith, that this meeting endorse the report of the negotiating committee and give them the unqualified backing.
Now, are you ready for the motion? I would like a standing vote on this motion. All in favor, stand. Down. Against. Those at the back, raise your hands if you're against it, so I won't be called on a technicality. Those against, stand, who are sitting, and at the back, if you're against it, raise your hand.
Unanimous.
Carried unanimously.
The printers vote to continue the strike. McCormick blames the company for breaking off negotiations.
For the record, it was the Toronto employers who called off the negotiations. That's the reason you're on the street. Mr. Thal, speaking for the employers, said that the earliest they could meet us was 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock Monday morning. So be sure and remember that. We at no stage have called off these negotiations, nor have we yet. I have confirmed with Mr. Thal that we will meet them at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning in the Lord Simcoe Hotel.
The meeting is over. The picket captains assign the men to picket duty. They will be paid $14 a day strike pay, but they don't get it unless they march on the picket line. Strike pay in Toronto will cost the ITU $2 million in the next 9 months.
Group 2. Buckley, Milligan are the captains. Blundell, Renstrup, Renetto, Burns, Cashman, Mill Clark, Duke, Dunstan, Bitterman, Gates, Jonas, Ranger, Answer, Joyce, Cat, Lazenby, Love.
We shall
Monday, July 13th. This is the Union Bargaining Committee. The leaders are buoyed up by yesterday's vote of confidence. They know that Local 91 is fighting for its life, and they're determined not to lose. 200 years ago, the ITU won the first successful strike in American history. 93 years ago, in 1872, the ITU struck the Toronto Globe. The union won and earned for Canadian workmen the 9-hour day and the right to join a trade union. That strike was called by the same ITU local which is fighting now for its very existence, Local 91. These are the publishers' representatives. For them, the strike is going well. If they can prevent the other unions from walking out in sympathy with the ITU, the publishers know they can win the strike. So far, the reporters, the pressmen, the stereotypers, and the photo engravers have honored their contracts and stayed on the job. Chief negotiator for the publishers is Bernie Thal, vice president of the Toronto Star. Dr. Thal is a self-made man. He started as an engineer consultant and rose rapidly to the top echelons of newspaper management. He has a PhD in science. He is an expert in computer operations and automated techniques. The publishers are over the hump. The presses are rolling, the computers are operating smoothly, and in today's negotiations, the publishers take a much tougher line. Tuesday, July 14th, the 6th day of the strike. McCormick makes new charges.
Hired a bunch of children or juvenile labor, young lads, to break a strike or lockout. I think this is pathetic when you see these men who have served this company ever since its inception and worked for the Globe and the Mail Empire even before that, many of them. Now this great paper is herding a lot of young lads, I guess, who are out of school for the summertime to do this work. It's sickening. Pimply-faced kids, yes, that's about it.
They can't last. We can last longer than they can.
Longer than the kids or longer than the Globe and Mail?
Than the Globe and Mail. If we've lasted this long, we've lasted that much longer.
How long are you guys prepared to walk out here?
Indefinite.
Well, most of these kids should be going back to school in September. We can last out till September and even longer.
I think it's awful. All I can say is that...
University students.
What if they're trying to make some money? What if they look throughout the whole summer?
Get themselves a decent job somewhere else.
They've tried desperately to find jobs. And there are so many university students that they can't find any.
It's much better.
So what would they do if there wasn't a little lockout?
Yeah, but they're taking work away from other
I
people.
realize that. But what are they going to do themselves if they're on their own?
You must learn a lot and go to university. Eh? It must be a grand education you're picking up. To go out and start scabbing to make your summer work.
We don't like it. We don't like it.
We know employment's tough, but surely to God it's not that bloody tough.
When you're on your own and you're trying to make your way through university, it's the only thing that we can do.
What do you think we're trying to do? I got a wife and 6 kids. What am I supposed to do? Stand here and watch you cross that picket line every day?
Well, you guys wouldn't have anything against students anyway, would you?
You're doing our work, naturally.
Pardon?
If you're doing our work, why shouldn't we?
Well, students have no trade anyways.
McCormick is right. Carrier boys were called in to operate the mailing room at the Globe. At the Star, the Vice President, Bernie Thal, brought in his 14-year-old nephew to replace a striking mailer. High school and college students were paid $150 a week at the Telegram to take the mailers' jobs.
Are you from high school or what's your problem?
Yeah, I'm from high school.
What high school?
Cedarburg.
Are you looking for a job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Pardon?
Hope you're proud of yourself.
What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm just looking for a job. I'm just walking around trying to get a job.
You got a job anywhere else?
Pardon?
Have you found it easy to get a job?
No.
Didn't anybody tell you there was a strike going on here?
Pardon?
Did anybody tell you the strike was going on here?
Yes.
Well, did you expect to have any trouble when you got down here, or what?
Pardon? No.
Why were you talking to the cop?
Well, I just was talking to the gentleman, so just pass the time of day.
Are they giving you a job?
Pardon?
Are they giving you a job?
I don't know.
How much do they can pay? 100 a week?
I don't know.
A lot more you can get on a summer job, right?
I don't know.
For Local 91, a strong picket line means success or failure. To win the strike, Local 91 must persuade the Teamsters not to deliver newsprint. It must convince the reporters not to help management set type. It must persuade stereotypers, pressmen, and reporters to walk off the job and join the printers on the picket line. And the pickets must chastise those members of their own union who have betrayed them and gone back to work rather than join their comrades on the picket lines. In union jargon, these men are called scabs, finks, rats.
First thing we're going to do is get... Oh, so how's it feel being unemployed? Hey, how's it feel being unemployed, Floyd? Hey?
Yeah. Bob Pruitt.
What does he do?
He used to be a sports football writer. Bob Pruitt, handling type.
Handling type?
Sure he is.
People seen him do it or what?
Sure they have.
He's been recorded, too.
They kicked out of the guild?
And in their contract, they said when they lose been kicked out, they lose their job also. Fine $5,000, Hey, I hope you always laugh. You're right. Coleman. That's the guy that stayed in. Sure, wouldn't that have been something? Isn't that Billy? I wish you would have hit there.
We have to Kelsey, who is that guy?
Jack Coleman.
What does he do?
He's a rat. He's the rat that worked in the compose room.
He did?
Yeah, he worked with us for years, from when he was 16 years old, or so.
Yeah.
Around that age, and he stayed in.
A real rat. First class rat.
Yeah.
What would he get paid? Anything extra for doing what he's doing?
Paid. He sells his soul. That's paying, huh?
A few trade unionists, but not many, respect the ITU picket line.
Because we feel that the printers are right. They want everybody union and everybody together. And we feel what they are doing is right.
Have been a trade unionist for 20-some-odd years, and therefore morally, I feel obligated to respect the picket line. So I come down to see how things are going.
We're not going to lay bodily hands on you. Nobody's going to hurt you. This is a legal strike. This is a legal lockout, and we're obeying the law. This is what we have to do. This is what we are doing. We're leaving it up to you as a union man to either respect this picket line. If you cross the picket line, your name will be turned over, and our union will immediately notify the Commercial Telegraphers Union. Now, I'm leaving it up to you what you should do. If you want to go back and tell your man down there, your boss down there, there's a picket line and you're not going to cross it, then this is what the Bell Telephone do. The manager or somebody else will probably drive in a truck and he'll do it. So this is a matter for you.
That's good, isn't it? I think I'll do that.
All right.
I don't want to start any trouble with this.
Good.
Anyways.
And thank you very much.
This man and his fellow unionists are daily forced to make a difficult choice, whether to honor the ITU picket line or to obey their own labor contracts with the company they work for, the union they belong to, and the labor law of the province. The vast majority of the trade unionists honor their contracts and cross the picket line of Local 91. In so doing, they seal the fate of the ITU. Other unions make modest gestures of support. The Actors Union sends a blonde to cheer up the strikers. The police are here to keep order.
Would you rather have some other assignment than this?
No, I get paid the same money no matter what I'm doing. It's a good job all the way around. I've got no preference either way.
The ITU goes to the Toronto Labor Council for help.
Where do we go from here? I think that we have to show once and for all, and sometimes people call me the exhibitionist, by always making mass demonstrations. But I think that the Minister of Labor has got to be told that we are not going to allow ourselves to be used under Ontario labor relations laws to cut our own throat. Once it's the union against the other.
The Labor Council gives Local 91 the traditionally unanimous resolution of support.
District Labor Council go on record as giving its unqualified support.
The resolution is read by Purdy Churchill, Vice President of the Labor Council and an official of the Pressmen's Union. It is an empty and ironic gesture. Every day, 200 members of Churchill's union cross the ITU picket line to get to their job. Local 91 calls a secret meeting of all the newspaper unions. Ernie Brooke of the Pressmen is asked to comment.
As president of the Pressmen's Union, I don't think I'm in a position to express the feeling of our membership.
Bob McCormick, president of Local 91, has just come from the closed meeting which included the Newspaper Guild, the Pressmen, and the other printing crafts. He renewed Local 91's demand that these unions join the printers in a sympathy strike. But sympathy strikes are illegal, and McCormick knows he has little chance of winning their support. He has learned that professional strike breakers from the United States are working in the composing rooms. He wants to use this as a lever to get the other unions to close the papers down. But the luck of the Irish is not with Belfast Bob McCormick tonight. The crafts will not come out.
Yes, that has been checked out, and most of the other unions are not doing ITU work, and the few violations they have found, they're taking care of it.
Violations? Now, which unions were involved in the violations?
Well, I would prefer not to single out one particular union. Mostly one union, but I won't name it.
Was it the Guild Club, or would you not mention that?
I told you I wouldn't name it. One of the unions. All unions are cooperating with us. We have lacked some exchange of information, and we plan to rectify that.
Gord Kennedy, PR man for the publishers, declares they are not using imported strike breakers.
It seems in the North American continent, a number of people who have acquired this title who go from one printing conflict to another. They roam the continent, going from newspapers that are in struck situations, and they offer their services. And then as soon as they hear of another ITU situation, well, these people have not even been considered and are in fact not in the employ of any of the three Toronto newspapers.
One day later, in the lobby outside room 121, Lord Simcoe Hotel, an angry Bob McCormick meets the press. He accuses management of bad faith. He insists they brought in professional strikebreakers. He says management has reopened issues already settled. He declares that the new tough line of the publishers makes further negotiations impossible.
The union informed the publishers that their position is tantamount to a declaration of war on Toronto Typographical Union and cannot be construed as anything other than a union-busting campaign based on the printed reports of non-union persons being trained for months to replace trusted, long-service employees. Out of respect to the office of the Minister of Labor, we will be in his office at 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Friday, July 24th, the government steps in. The Ontario Minister of Labor calls both sides to the conference table. The publishers' representatives are in no mood to give ground. They know they are winning, and for them, conciliation now is only a ritual.
As a union group, and said we'll settle for what you put on the table?
I don't know. That I don't.
You don't know?
I don't know the answer to that.
I see.
The union leaders arrive to face new demands from management. No more feather bedding, job guarantees for the strike breakers, management to have the right to introduce unlimited automation. In return, the publishers offer each striking printer a guarantee of his job for life, a guarantee the printers do not believe. The government's chief conciliation officer is Louis Fine. They call him Louis the Peacemaker. He has settled more labor disputes than any man in North America. He is approaching retirement and would like to settle the newspaper strike as the crowning achievement in a long and brilliant career. Today, for the first time, he has persuaded management and labor to sit with him around the same table. On the union side, the representatives of the oldest craft union in North America. On the publisher's side, the representatives of 10,000 shareholders and an investment of $50 million. For the benefit of the assembled press and photographers, labor, management, and government sign the roll call. Greensway, Department of Labor. McCormick, ITU. Martinook, ITU. Ogilvie, ITU. William, ITU. Smith, ITU. Elling, ITU. Ward, ITU. McKenzie, ITU. For the publishers, Perigo, Telegram. Rankin, Globe and Mail. Richards, Globe and Mail, and Elmhurst, Telegram. Purdy, Star. Thal, Star.
Let me have those the company representatives on my right, the union on my left, as they're saying.
Behind closed doors, the conciliation meetings continue. In front of the Star, the women's auxiliary of the ITU takes over the picket line. The girls are cheerful. They hope the good offices of Louis the Peacemaker will end the strike, get their husbands out of their hair and back into the composing rooms where they belong. For the rank-and-file members of Local 91, the conciliation talks are vital. They know they are losing the strike. They hope for a face-saving device which will end the walkout without humiliating the union. But Louis Fine's bag of tricks is exhausted. He is unable to drive through a settlement. On Monday, August 3rd, conciliation talks break down completely. It is the 26th day of the strike. Bob McCormick, now desperate, returns to the Labor Council for help.
This is a serious fight, and these employers have tasted the blood of an old craft union, and they have no preference. It's just a question of what order they break us in. So that's the serious situation we face. I hope that you will all support us. I know that you will. Go back to your members. I also understand that there is going to be a committee set up with the cooperation of the executive of this council. We've all got a job to do, and I hope you'll stick with us. We will do our best to win it.
But it's already clear that McCormick doesn't have the help he needs. The Guild, the pressmen, and the other craft unions are crossing the picket line every day. Labor solidarity gets nothing but verbal support.
We thought that the last two strikes, those employers, those vicious employers, had a lesson that there will not be a strike of that sort in Toronto for the next probably 10 years. Here we are faced with a very serious strike of the 3 daily papers. I do say, fellow trade unionists, that if this strike is not going to win, this will be a defeat not only for the union who is involved in the strike, but that this will be a defeat for the entire labor movement. I am sure that as far as the labor movement is concerned, the strikers are going to get morally and financially support, and if it's necessary, a huge picket demonstration not to let anybody cross the picket line until this strike is settled.
Thursday, August 6th. At the Toronto Telegram, a mass picket demonstration is underway.
Go home and have a sleep. Television. Go and have a sleep. What do you want, driver? You got him in a trunk.
John Bassett, owner of the Toronto Telegram, is greeted by the wives and children of his striking employees. Before the strike, they thought of him as a generous and considerate employer.
Canada's finkiest publisher.
R-A-T-T-F-I-N-K, right bank. R-A-T-T-F-I-N-K, right bank.
Bernie Thal, vice president of the Star, agrees to define the publisher's position.
Now, I think, is the time to deal with this issue fundamentally, because we feel that since computers has been such a difficult subject to deal with, and photocomposition, the previous example of automation, was so difficult to introduce, that we cannot put ourselves in the position in the future of having to take a strike each and every time we wish to introduce a new process, like photocomposition, like a computer, for example.
Monday, August 24th. It is the 47th day of the strike. Local 91 is in a very precarious position. The past 2 weeks have gone badly. A court injunction has forbidden any more mass demonstrations. The publishers have mailed letters to each of the printers inviting them to return to their old jobs, no strings attached. 11 strikers accept the company's offer and return to work. Today, the publishers make their final offer. It is much tougher than the offer the union turned down 50 days before, and it is strictly take it or leave it. On the night of August 26th, the membership